Hey teachers, if you have followed me for long, you know that I love to celebrate holidays in the classroom. This is a great way to get students' attention and get them interested in what you are teaching. Now, remember, holidays do not always have to be just for fun. They can be educational too. And so today I want to share with you some ELA and math activities that you can use around Memorial Day. Now, I know some of you are probably already out of school before Memorial Day even takes place, but a lot of you are still in school. I know I always taught in schools that didn't get out until June, and there's also a lot of homeschool parents that are still working with their kids at the end of May. So if you are still in school at Memorial Day or you're a homeschool parent looking for Memorial Day activities, go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up, and then let's go ahead and talk about some of the activities that you can be doing with your students. Now, I grew up in an Air Force family, so I really love patriotic holidays and really any opportunity to share about the military with my students. Being around military people my whole life, I was really surprised when I got into teaching, and I found that a lot of my students had never actually talked to soldiers and servicemen and women. So I think that Memorial Day is a great time to host a military career fair at your school. Bring in servicemen and women from different branches who work different jobs in the military and allow them to talk with your students about opportunities in the military. I also think this is a great idea because I always worked in Title I schools, and to be honest, most of my students would never be able to afford college on their own, but the military will actually pay for college for them. And so teaching them about the military, it also showed them that they had more opportunities for the future. So if you're thinking, wow, this sounds like something really cool, I'd love to do this, but I don't actually know any servicemen or women myself, just call your local recruiting office. My dad actually used to be a recruiter, and it doesn't matter whether you teach high school or not. Even if you're in elementary school, the recruiters will still come to your classroom to talk with their students. It's never too early to start planting seeds, and they are happy to meet with your students. But this is a great way to teach them about the military, to teach them about careers in the military, to teach them how to get college for free by serving in the military for a short period of time, and it's something that I really love. Now, when it comes to Memorial Day or really any patriotic holiday, there are a lot of ELA activities that you can use to teach about the history and the traditions of that holiday. So one thing that I like to do with any patriotic holiday is I have my students read a passage about the history and the traditions of that holiday, and then I have a lot of comprehension activities that go with the passage, and usually I have them complete those activities at centers. So let me show you a few of the activities that go with this Memorial Day passage that I use. So one of the activities I have my students complete with this passage is a cause and effect chart. Basically, they're just using the passage, they're looking for examples of cause and effect, and they're filling out the chart. And then if I need something extra for them to do as well, I have them flip it over and they can come up with their own cause and effect examples as well. The next activity I have students complete with this passage is a word search and writing activity. And I know what you may be thinking. Word searches are not educational. I hear people say this all the time, but the fact of the matter is word searches are only not educational if you make them not educational. So what I do is I have a word search with key terms from the passage. As students find each of these terms, they have to create a sentence with the terms that relate to Memorial Day. And then after they've done that, they have to flip the sheet over or open a doc in Google Docs, and they have to use a minimum of 5 of the words to write a Memorial Day story. So Memorial Day is all about remembering fallen soldiers. So for one of the activities, I like to have students complete a graphic organizer where they brainstorm different ways that they could honor fallen soldiers. Now, one thing that's really fun is you can take this activity a step further by turning it into a STEM challenge. At the station where you have students brainstorming these ideas, you can also provide them with any materials that you have and have them construct a memorial or monument to honor fallen soldiers. And the last activity that I have to go with my Memorial Day passage is this foldable book. I do have a comprehension worksheet that goes with the passage, but I also think it's a lot more fun to have students create things and answer comprehension questions in a fun way. So one way I do that is with this foldable book, students go through, they answer the questions from the passage, they color the images and fold it into this book. And this is really cool because it's something that they can take home and share with their families and share a little bit about the history and tradition of Memorial Days with their loved ones. Now, Memorial Day is also a great time to use read-alouds with your students. Even if you teach the big kids love read-alouds. I've actually created a whole series of videos here on my YouTube channel all about read-alouds for upper elementary, so you should definitely check that out if you like doing read-alouds with your older students. But I want to go ahead and share some of my favorite Memorial Day read-alouds with you. The first Memorial Day book that I recommend for you is The Poppy Lady by Barbara Walsh. This is actually a true story. I'm sure many of you are familiar that the poppy is a symbol of remembrance when we're talking about fallen soldiers. And this is the story of a teacher who actually came up with the poppy as being the symbol of remembrance and why we still use it today. So this is also a great way to teach a little bit more about the history of Memorial Day with your students. The second Memorial Day read aloud that I have for you is The Wall by Eve Bunting, and this book is really special to me because I actually remember one of my grade school teachers reading this book to me when I was a kid, and I remember the book really had an impact on me. The story really stuck with me. It made me want to learn more about soldiers who had been in war and just the sacrifices that they had made. And the story is about a boy and his father that go to the Vietnam Memorial in Washington, D.C. And if you're not familiar, that particular memorial is a giant wall, and the names of every fallen soldier is listed on that wall. So the boy and his father, they go and they're actually searching for the boy's grandfather's name on the wall. And as they do, the father's telling him about the war and about soldiers, and you just get to learn a lot about how we remember fallen soldiers in the United States. And so that really had a profound impact on me, and I love to be able to share that with students too. The third book I have for you is one that I actually recently discovered, and to be honest, I need a tissue box for this one, so be forewarned. But this book is called America's White Table, and it's by Margot Raven. And actually, even growing up in a military family, I was completely unaware of what a white table ceremony is. And apparently in military dining halls, they always have a white table set up in remembrance of fallen soldiers, and they have a whole ceremony that goes around the white table. And so this book is all about the white table and the white table ceremony. And so like I said, it's very emotional, but it's really interesting because I think that this is something that a lot of people don't know about, but it has very strong symbolism and very important meaning to our military communities. The last book on my Memorial Day Read Aloud list for you is H is for Honor, a Military Family History by Devin Cillian. And this book teaches about military families and the branches of the military through each letter of the alphabet. So this one's actually a really fun one to do with your students, and you can even have them create their own military alphabets or Memorial Day alphabets after they finish reading the book. Now, before we move on to math, I've actually got one more ELA Memorial Day activity for you. Now, one thing that I do at various times throughout the year, whether it be Christmas or patriotic holidays, is I actually have my students write letters to deployed soldiers who are overseas and away from their families. I told you I grew up in a military family. I know a lot of military people, and I cannot tell you how much it means to these people when they get letters overseas. It really encourages them and it motivates them to keep going. So this is a great time to teach how to write a friendly letter to your students, have them practice the writing process, writing drafts and final drafts, and then actually mailing out your letters. And another thing you can do as well is send out a care package with all of your letters. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll send a note home to parents and just say, hey, would you be willing to donate something for this care package we're putting together? They like things like candy, iTunes gift cards, small items that they can use and share overseas. And so you can put together your letters, your care package, and if you're thinking to yourself, I'd really like to do this, but I'm not really sure where to send it or who to send it to, you've got a couple of options. You can contact your local USO office and they'd be happy to connect you with somebody. There's also a website called amillionthanks.org, and they actually, that's all they do is they send letters and packages to deployed soldiers. So check out those resources if you are interested in doing that. Okay, so far we've talked about a military career day, we've talked about lots of ELA activities. Now I want to share a math activity that works really well, particularly for Memorial Day. And what you can do is you can have students research the number of casualties in each war the United States has been a part of. And then they can use that information to create charts and graphs. And you can use the charts and the graphs that the students create to tie into your social studies discussions. So why are there so many more casualties in the Civil War compared to World War I? And you can really have some great integrated math and social studies discussions with this activity. And the final Memorial Day activity that I have for you is not necessarily an ELA or math or career readiness activity. This is just an activity to get your students talking about themselves and their families and having conversations with each other. It can even be considered an SEL or social emotional learning activity. And I think this is a great time if you have students in your class with family members who are in the military, who have fought in wars, who have maybe even died in service for their country. Allow those students to bring in pictures, to talk about their families, encourage them to go home and have conversations about their family history with their families, and then come in and share that information. This is a great way to get your students to open up and to get to know each other on a deeper level. I hope you'll try out some of these Memorial Day activities in your classroom, or if you're a homeschool parent at home with your child. And if you know of any great Memorial Day activities that are educational, go ahead and share them in the comments below. Then don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel so that way you never miss out on any of my latest teaching tips and ideas. Until next time, happy teaching!